Good evening and welcome to Going for Two. This is the only YouTube podcast in human recorded history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the important topics of the day, as long as they touch the football world and not in that way. Tonight we'll talk about our drafts and how terrible/amazing they look now, what happened in the finale of Game of Thrones, why Sharona spent major bucks on Jay Cutler, and the Zeke fiasco.
Yes.
Don, possible sole person watching this, and isn't that trophy pretty?
It's a nice trophy.
Now, was it a downer for you that Don was like in the room with me, but basically hiding in a corner because that's how he dressed?
I know. We had him on the show again, and he was all Mr. Don't put Don in the corner, but he put himself in the corner. We couldn't get him out.
Yeah, I think the best part was Don pulling out the magnifying glass to look at his magazine to decide who to draft next. But I think Don and pretty much everybody in the league got a better draft grade than I did, so that's good. Not that
draft grades mean anything.
Through all these years.
I mean, it's funny because they suggested that I go out and pick up one player who's on IR, and there was it was funny, and I know they're all automated. I'm really not trying to pick on anybody. And then in another draft, I got like a B-, but I'm only supposed to win 4 games, which my math's bad, but that does not add up. And so and they suggested that I pick up a player who's on IR. So, all that stuff, a lot of that stuff gets done before, and you set up a system. It's really hard to go back, but it's just funny. It's fun.
I got a C, and I got 4 steals in the first 11 rounds, so the other 7 must have really sucked. You don't really know. This is the week. The first week of the NFL season, this is where we know the least. We have no idea what teams are going to do, especially teams like the Patriots. Like, I feel way better taking Patriots in best ball than, like, if you're starting a Patriot running back this week, you're strong. But I am Zach Law, and this is just Sharona, thanks. It's September 6th, 2017, and we haven't done like an official normal show in, I feel like, 3 or 4 weeks because we did the semi-fiasco auction followed by the maybe less fiasco draft because we finished in like 80 minutes. It wasn't
a fiasco. I
don't think the draft last year wasn't much shorter, but it's just that Yahoo like 60-second clock. It goes so quickly. And Don actually said that, he thought you were kind of quiet. He's like, well, of course, Sharona was drinking, doing shots of water. So, of course, she wasn't as, feisty as usual, but it's all right. We'll try to get that tonight. Now I have a beer that I think Sharona might enjoy. It's a milk stout, Tough Kitty from Boulevard.
I definitely want to try that.
Available nationwide.
I'm surrounded by kitties. I've got one circling my feet right now.
And while I kind of want to save special beer for tomorrow and for the weekend, I'm going with the Dragon's Milk because I've earned it.
Well, I think you should, and I think I'm going to get that chocolate beer that you stole from me last year.
That's funny. Yeah, it's true that I did drink the chocolate quad the night before the game. And Dooley was bashed for it. But the next time Sharona and I met up, I got our Dragon's Milk and that. So I feel like, maybe we're even, but it's not fun when you're even. And I don't even think the entire draft last week, I don't think there were any, bets made. But I think the downside, of course, was nobody was on with us. Even Don hiding in the corner. Although I was glad that Don came over because it wouldn't have been as good at Funk House. So let's do it. We haven't done this in a while. Time for Over It or Nah pre-NFL season edition. Over It or Nah, Tennessee Vols escape artistry.
Hang on a second. I gotta draft somebody. Should I draft Russell Wilson or Cam Newton? I get premium points for rushing touchdowns. Russell Wilson, Cam Newton.
Russie. I'm all with the Russie this year.
Okay.
Cam, I really think this year, Cam, they're going to try to hand it off to other guys in the
I agree. I think it's hard to count on his.
I don't really know what he's.
And they should. I mean, he's been beaten up and banged up. I think that they should let other people take those knots. I completely agree. Although I think Cam's in for a big year, but yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago he was a bargain when he was MVP, and then last year he was an anti-bargain
Back to your
because he was the
question.
first pick. But yeah,
Back to
tell
your
me about
question.
those Vols. Bucket top.
I'm torn because you never want to lose. You always want your team to win. But I'm so over Butch Jones that I just can't even. And of course, he did some boneheaded things in this game too. And it's like, so, I'm sure there'll be more opportunities for him to lose games, and we'll see how that goes.
Well, on Monday night, I knew that my poor father-in-law, who's such a UT fan, it's ridiculous. I knew he wasn't going to be able to stay awake for the whole game. Like he made it to halftime, I think, and I think we turned the game on twice. As our wife was worn out of a weekend at a book festival, so we watched the last hour of Sex in the City, the movie, followed by 16 Candles, Clean Clothes Shave. I feel like it was time well spent, even though it was a good game, overtime, 2 years in a row. I think. I don't know. Did Appalachian State go for two, or they fumbled? I think when they're about to score in overtime, something like that. But I couldn't name a single player in the Tennessee roster. But I probably can't name two players on the Missouri roster, so that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a conversation that we should have, and that is, how do you, it's been hard for me to handle some of the things that have been going down in sports. And so, I kind of wrote sort of a little thing about that. And
Did you?
Yeah. And I was on, the return of college football, and the NFL, and Zeke Elliott, and rules and defense and all of that. And it's a struggle. I had to distance myself from it a little bit in order to. Now I was losing my love for it. I was really losing my love for the game, and so I had to distance myself from it. And so, yeah, I don't know as many names on the Vols roster as I would have in the past.
True. Yeah. No, I just. I was at this book festival all weekend, so I really wasn't having much access to the TV. I just checked my phone at 1:30 on Saturday and saw that it was in the second quarter, and Missouri had just scored a touchdown to make it 41-35 in the second quarter against Missouri State. By the way, Missouri State is an FCS program that has won 5 games the last 2 years. Their head coach was Missouri's previous defensive coordinator, who left when they hired Barry Odom. And by the way, Barry Odom, head coach of Missouri, pretty much a defensive coach, pretty much a defensive coordinator, and they gave it 43 points to an FCS team. Now, they did score 72, which is nice, but they were pretty much playing a scrimmage.
College football doesn't believe in defense. I think this is why the article that I wrote was in response to something that Spencer Hall. I've got the hiccup. Sorry, he was a college football guy, and he loves the mesh and offense and all of that. And I'm kind of a defense gal and everything. And the days of having defense in college football seem to be over, at least for right now. Everything's cyclical. It'll come back.
Well, the Missouri back-to-back SEC champion teams, the first year they had a really good offense because they had all those tall receivers, but the second year it was all about the defense making key plays when they had to, and Russell Mansborough. But yeah, so what is the mesh offense? What is these magic?
Well, he explained it far better than I can, but it's a relatively simple thing that when you do it right, is extremely efficient at creating plays.
Extremely efficient. Okay. So do you want to, I mean, you've kind of gotten into it, but you want to go ahead and talk about your article that I finally got to read, and you're mad at me because I didn't read it 5 seconds after you sent it to me?
I am not. Don't exaggerate. Hyperbole is unbecoming, even though I'm like
It's
all about
becoming.
it. No, I'm kidding. I love hyperbole. I use it all the time. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can talk about it. It's it's something that I'm relatively proud of. Um, that I wrote.
What's the title?
It is titled "Of Mouse and parentheses Rich Men," a sports story.
There was a lot to it. It wasn't, I guess initially I was like, okay, this is going to be Sharona's epic, elbow from the top ropes coming down on, the whole Ezekiel Elliott thing. But it was a little more high level than that.
I wasn't there to come off the tight ropes onto anyone. It was intended to make people think. That's all.
Well, thanks. You made me think. I'm going to think about football. It's not right.
It's interesting, and it applies in a lot of different. How we talk about things always fascinates me far more, really, than the things that we are talking about. And watching the Ezekiel Elliott thing, and I've talked about this before in other cases where there's been discipline, and it's interesting that people seem to get more upset about the manner in which things get done rather than at what is at the root of it. And you can just point to the Colin Kaepernick situation as an example. And of course, now we've got Michael Bennett with what happened with him. And, um, you know, I think that if we're ever going to get beyond where we are, and clearly we have been a very divided country. I think some of the tragedies that have happened, Harvey, and we've got, I mean, how many major tropical, oh, hello, cat. How many major tropical storms do we have right now? The West is burning down. We're living in a time, I know that this isn't your other show, and um, we seem to be living in the end of times, and I've thought that for a while, and it's sort of wild to kind of watch it go down. But maybe some of these tragedies are bringing us together. I'm not sure, but if we're ever going to get to a closer understanding of one another, we have to have these hard conversations, and I don't think we have these hard conversations by driving people away. And I'm not here to try to drive people away. That's not who I am.
It does seem like these days you have to go 3 or 4 extra steps to have a conversation with someone because, yeah, it does. It's really easy for anything to go straight into like attack mode. Like Steph
Yes.
Stradley, who I think we've had. I don't know if we've had on this show, but I have interviewed a couple of times because she's like the Texans fan go-to. And she did a pretty lengthy article about the whole Ezekiel Elliott situation from like a legal point of view. And one guy like replied, because I just retweeted the article, was like, well, the players signed up for this, so they deserve whatever they get. And it's like, that's really a not at all nuanced kind of take. And I guarantee that's not what the players were thinking. They were probably thinking this is the best deal we can get.
Yeah, it's
But
interesting. I usually
it's,
never agree with Stephanie Stradley's legal opinion, and I didn't read
oh,
that one, so I don't know what to say about that.
oh, you don't, huh?
No.
We should get her on because she likes to attack the Titans. And I go, you have the most boring team name in human history, the Texans. I mean, come on. I mean, I know the Titans stole their team and all. I get it. It's kind of like an ex who dumped you trying to get like the moral high ground. But yeah, it could be fun. It could be fun. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be fun. Because yeah, Houston is underwater, and it looks like Miami's going to be underwater after this weekend, and like half of Florida. I have friends that live in the Gulf Coast, and they're already like, there's no water and no gas. And this is 3 days before it's happening, and they're canceling games in the NFL, so it's a
Yeah.
pretty big deal.
Which is kind of maybe a good way to segue into another topic, but it's interesting. And I had some, conversations with Twitter conversations with people about this. I mean, you have to, right? I mean, you can't make these guys play that game, and it's I think more difficult than even people realize because I gotta I gotta make a pick. My turn to pick, and I've got backs to backs. Let me see here. What we got? No, 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 no.
So you're on the turn? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm on a turn, and
So what league is this? Who is you drafting with here?
This is my second ITP league. My first one was an ITP league, and try saying that 3 times real fast.
After a beer.
So I'm water. So
I know you're behaving. I appreciate
that. Agua. I forget my Spanish. So but then when you've got multiple natural disasters like this, and what's going on in the West isn't necessarily natural because it was started by one of them was started by a firework, and then it's, but it's all because of, drought conditions and all that. And so when you've got these multiple, these men are human and they've got families, and it's,
Yeah, I was glad they didn't push to make it like they were talking about, we might play on Thursday or Friday, or try to play like in a neutral site, or like play at Tampa, and just they both have the same bye week. Let them play week 11. I know they won't get an official bye week, and this probably annoys people who drafted Jameis Winston, but I think I win on a net because I'm playing 2 teams with Mike Evans this week who have to bench him because he's not playing, so that's good. But yeah, I basically stuck with 1 quarterback, and that's just Andy Dalton, who's going to score like 2 points this weekend against Baltimore, so it's okay. But it's week 1. Anything can happen.
What is... Oh, shit. I'm going to run out of time.
Sharona's busy. Don't interrupt. Silence is cold and cold and cold.
Oh, shoot. Okay. All right, I'm off the... I'm sorry. I drafted Zay Jones, if you're curious.
Zay Jones. Ooh. Got through to somebody.
So, yeah, and I know people are upset. Listen, I should be upset because I just had to spend almost all my SFB7 free agency money to get Jay freaking Cutler. So, anyway.
Yeah, that's part of the discussion. I think I was trying to remember who John Paulson, I think from 4for4, actually had in the Scott Fish Bowl. So the Scott Fish Bowl we draft in like early July, and actually I think last year, I'm not even sure if there was a waiver before the season. Maybe there was.
There's wait. It's like it's earlier. No, wait. I don't remember.
Either it was in the first, or it was like right before the first week. But anyway, last year I spent like $80 of my $100 on Dak Prescott because when my quarterbacks got hurt, and that made sense. And Sharona drafted Andrew Titan Killer Luck, who
was
knows?
My first round pick, no doubt.
Who knows what? Well, Sharona just won a challenge. She's like, I can take you guys down with that first round pick. I'm good. But she didn't jump after Scott Tolzien, who actually I think went for like 7 in our league, which actually I made a bid for Vance McDonald, and I did the, everybody does the 11 instead of 10, so I put $12 on there. Someone put him up for 17. I was like, damn. I actually picked up former hyped draft pick Max with 2 X's Williams because
Oh.
I lost Crockett Gilmore.
Mm.
I was like, well, this early in the season, that's one thing I like about the Scott Fish Bowl is that you bid for your free agents, but once the first round is done, and you actually can bid $0.
Yeah.
You go on waivers, you can get a guy for free. So save out that money because my
A
team
lot of people, I do. Like,
is what it is.
what I do is spend most of my allotment in, because it is such a deep league and you're playing with, players, fantasy players who are um, knowledgeable, and so you're not usually going to get any, free rides or whatever. My situation, these were my quarterbacks. I had Andrew Luck, which, okay, so frankly, it was early. I was coming back from sort of being on hiatus, getting away from sports and trying to regain my love, like I was talking about earlier. And um, I just, Zach didn't warn me. I didn't know at the time that there might be
It's
these
my
concerns.
fault.
It's always your fault. I
Yeah,
didn't know
4
at the
quarterbacks, nice. Yeah,
well, I
you
didn't
can.
know at the time, and so I drafted Andrew Luck, and then I do have Carson Wentz, and then like as a flyer, like later on, I drafted, like with my last pick or next to the last pick, I drafted Mitchell Trubisky. So I had 3
13th round.
quarterbacks. Well, and I was like, and so I'm was it whatever. So I'm
After a
like,
certain point, it's all the same,
so
really.
I'm like struggling, going, what do I do here? And I do think that Trubisky, and I did think that Trubisky was eventually going to maybe start, but John Fox didn't seem to be impressed. And so I'm sitting here this morning pondering my waiver dollars. What do I do? And I actually had thought about submitting. I did submit a waiver claim for Scott Tolzien, and I'd already submitted one for Jay Cutler. It was hurting my heart to do those 2 things. And then I was going to have 5, but I had intended maybe to just go ahead and drop Trubisky because you don't ever know what John Fox is going to do. And then they come out and say he was the backup. So now he's, the backup, and he's probably going to start sooner rather than later. And so,
Yeah, Chicago's a rough place.
and honestly, I didn't really, I didn't want Scott Tolzien. I don't handcuff. I don't usually handcuff, and I never have. I've never been. I know that's kind of a thing
She
lately, but I've
never has.
never done that. I'd just rather have a guy. And so anyway, and so I was like, okay, so now I have Jay Cutler, Andrew Luck, Carson Wentz, and Miss Trubisky. And so,
Trubisky.
and now Jay Cutler's on that bye, and if I get, if I get past week 1, I should be okay, and I'm gonna eventually. I'll keep an eye on the waiver wire, and we'll do something.
Yeah, in this league, quarterbacks are toast. I mean, Brock Osweiler was taken in the 21st round. He was a starter at the time of the draft. I'm just mad about that league where I drafted like Paxton Lynch and like Trevor Siemian went like 3 rounds later, and it's like, oops, probably should have done that. But yeah, I like the fuzzy handcuff theory, which is basically you take somebody else's handcuff. That way you spread it out. Like, for example, like if you had Ezekiel Elliott and you thought he was going to be on, off for a while, instead of taking Darren McFadden, take Jacquizz Rodgers. He's going to start for 3 weeks for Doug Martin, that kind of thing. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I only made one. I basically replaced my one IR guy.
Are you still making fun of my Charles Sims pick?
I don't know. The Rotos people are burning it up. Like they have that one picture of Charles Sims doing something positive. Like I actually took him in one of my NFL 25s. I was dumb enough to set up I tried to do MFL 10s, like space them out, and I totally forgot in the last day that you could do them. I did 4, and now I'm in the middle of 4 drafts, and that's way too much. I shouldn't have done that. But he's going to score some points early on. And the only thing with this league, of course, is you have to set your lineup. I like best ball. So you have to kind of like pick your poison. You have a ton of receivers, which is probably smart because I feel like I'm starting like every viable receiver I have on my roster because you can start up to 7 guys in the Scott Fish Bowl. So that means you're really reaching. And now that I'm down to 1 quarterback because I have Andy Dalton, Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, I mean, yeah, I lose Jameis Winston this week, but hey, the rest of the year, he's starting.
Yeah, see, that's the way I was. I know that Jay Cutler's not playing this week, but rather than get a short-term rental on Scott Tolzien, I'll just do the best I can with this week, and then I should be good after that.
I mean, getting a
Should.
guy who you can start every week in a two-start quarterback league, pretty much had to throw your money out there. So, what did you think?
Well,
If
you can't take it with you.
we're still in heavy, well, I mean, over it or not, it's kind of just segments at this point.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Cleveland Police Department?
Very interesting. If you're paying attention. A lot of people are mad, and we talked about this earlier, because
You're as
Colin
woke
Cap.
as your cat behind you.
I just want to say, and oh, I'm coming up. Let me make this point after I make my next two picks. We're going pretty fast right now.
I see.
Zach has been hanging with me for a good while now. We started the show in 2013 or 2014. I can't remember. Maybe early 2014 or late 2013. But anyway, you've known me since then. And I had very early on in our friendship had told Zach that I was so woke it hurt. And I think Zach knows what I'm talking about now.
Oh yeah, you get to see
But yeah,
the best and
it's
I'll emphasize the worst of Twitter and the
it's
internet. Yes.
it's always interesting to see what people do in response to someone saying, this is an injustice. Maybe we need to do something about that. And the Cleveland police are the best example of, see, there's really a problem here, and we really need to do something about it. And they're like the poster child.
It's when any group in this country gets too much power, they obviously go and
Maybe
do
somebody
horrible
just drafted
things.
Andrew Luck in this draft.
Take the state legislatures of America that are supermajority Republican and see the laws they're passing.
Mm.
Bad things happen. So the situation is Cleveland Browns players, including a white guy, oh no, a white guy, took a knee during the national anthem. And by the way, the following week they all like linked arms, which I thought was smart. They kind of changed it up. And the Cleveland Police Department was like, well, we're not going to present the flag to you. We're going to protest your protest by protesting. And we're not going to listen to the fact that you're protesting about the fact that you did shoot a kid who had like a toy gun who was like 12 years old. And the cop, I don't think, faced any consequences. I mean, it's legitimate protests. But there's this weird blinder thing we have. There's like a local radio guy here who's like super everything American and just the dumbest version of conservatism in a way. Like, I guess, who was that ex-coach who said something about the flag? The flag's a flag. The flag's not a human being. So if you revere the flag over human beings, I don't know what to say to you. And most people don't stand up, and you only stand up for the national anthem because you're at the stadium. If people are going to protest, sports guys, they're not supposed to. But I think we figured out Zeke Elliott situation. Sports and real life, they intersect a little more than people want to think.
Yeah.
And so is there
I
any
just
players
drafted
left for you to
Kendall
take?
Wright, baby.
Kendall Wright, man, what round are you in? It's got to be deep.
We are in. He was my 11th round pick.
Kendall Wright, what a comeback, huh?
Yeah, I think he's going to be their guy.
I kept him.
I'm not. I don't think he's great, but I think he's. What else do they have?
Yeah, okay. He's like a bit of a like wily veteran now. I mean, I know we had the revenge game against Titans, but clearly the Bears showed up to play against Titans, and the Titans didn't show up, and we have nothing to expect. All right, we'll go lighter. We should go lighter now. Now that your cat has fallen asleep on the chair behind you. Every week it's like, which cat? We should have betting. Which cat's gonna get on the chair and photo bomb you, video bomb you? So
Iggy's in here somewhere. She's asleep. Yeah, I don't know if you can see her. She's back there.
over it or nah, pumpkin spice.
I just don't like pumpkin, and I give you a hard time about your fruity beers, but I don't care. Drink whatever you want. But I had to send you that because it was like men are upset because people are making fun of their fruity shit, and I do that to you.
I'm
But
sorry.
you gotta admit, it is funny that I like the heavier beers and you like the fruity stuff. I mean, it's kind of
And here I am overcompensating with my dragon's milk because I was like,
it's
do I drink the fruity stuff? I think I might on Sunday because,
no,
it's a
no, no,
warm
no,
day.
no. We have to point out once again because this is legitimately a thing that Zach made fun of my dragon's milk for literally years. And then I quit drinking, and he has done nothing but drink my favorite beer every single show since I quit.
Woke as fuck.
Don't think I mean, I noticed.
Now, other than actual like pumpkin pie, yeah, I pretty much gave up on pumpkin beers. I had a local like pumpkin stout, and it's just, I don't know. I think the cinnamon thing
I like the
just can't do it
candles.
anymore. So, yeah,
I like the
I'm out of that.
candles.
Okay. Over it or nah, calling things girly when you're a feminist.
Um, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's like that whole thing about using the word female and stuff. I mean, I don't think that that helps the conversation to be all like we shouldn't use the word female because
Really? Huh.
it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me to use girly. What bothers me is when you force somebody to be something that maybe they don't want to be. Like, if it's a little girl and she wants to play with you know, a military game set or whatever, or if it's a little boy and he wants to do whatever. I mean,
I don't know if Jason Whitlock would agree with you. Oh, sorry. Don't
don't
go there.
listen, I don't give guy and his white counterpart there either, not named Skip Bayless. I don't give those guys, they don't occupy any time in my attention. They just don't. I've got way better things to focus on.
It's so relaxing that it's very rare that I hear those voices still. Like, of course, they come through, and then it's like, oh, still being dumb and stuff I don't have to listen to. There are so many voices now. Yeah, if you focus too much on people that are saying things that are against what you believe in, I mean, come on, you got to move on. Have some fun.
Yeah, that's the other thing, and I'm at a struggle point with social media, and I've got to do something there too because I set and my timeline is crazy, and I've just got to organize it a little bit better. I've got to make some more lists, which the plan, I probably won't get to it before this weekend. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll be able to do it tomorrow or Friday, but the plan is to make some more lists, move people that don't follow me into those lists, and clear off my follow list so that I can, and I've done some of this already, and I'm going to have to do some more of it because I can't do it. Oh, hello. We're awake now. No, we're back down. Okay.
It's short lived.
So,
Over it or nah. Opening day, Tennessee Titans, baby.
not over that. I'm hoping that it's going to be fun. We get to meet Jamal and his friend, and so yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, every year, Josh Gunnels, who writes for Music City Miracle, apparently, because I don't check the site out very often, it is like a tradition. Like opening day, I get to see him. I get to meet his mom, who's like a big fantasy football, and she has to tell me about all our teams. And I'm like, hey, sure, I'll listen until you talk about your teams. And yeah, he has usually leftover ribs and drink too many beers before the game, and then we
Josh
go
is
on.
cool.
What was interesting is like the Sports Illustrated writers were like picking the playoff teams, and all but one of them picked the Titans to go to the playoffs, and every single one who picked the Titans to go to the playoffs picked them to lose in the first round.
Oh, well. Okay.
And almost every time they were like the home team. And I'm like, you know what I haven't seen in a long time? It's a tradition like none other. The Titans losing a home playoff game. That's a Jeff Fisher special.
That kind of is a time-honored tradition.
It's been a while. Like the last
Family.
time was when they're in the number 1 seed and they lost to the Ravens. And why people are listening to Ray Lewis on social issues, I don't know. But that's another one of those voices I'm like, don't have to hear anymore. Blah, blah, blah. It's all gone.
Well, yeah, some people are saying that he lied and whatever. It's weird.
Dark
we are
character.
In round 12. I've got 1, 2, 3. I better. Okay.
See, multitasking. She's got this.
I am.
So when are you going to come up on? We can just discuss our plans, this weekend right here and get it all covered.
Sure.
So when are you heading up to the Ville?
Probably Saturday. When are you?
I'm already planning to take Friday afternoon off, so I'm going to drive up and probably be up Friday night, so I can kind of just hang with the parents, I think, for a night, okay. And then Saturday be in town and probably go somewhere for hot chicken on Saturday. That's a prediction.
I was thinking I would get there in time for hot chicken lunch and then video games.
So are you bringing like your system, whatever it is?
Yes.
You download Elder Scrolls? I
yes.
can bring my NES Classic. I'll have to, ask for permission, but because all you have to do is plug that sucker in, and it's all ready to go.
Yes, I am bringing video game system.
I'd like to see Sharona on the 8-bit. Maybe we do Tecmo Bowl, because I played Don in Tecmo Bowl at halftime during Titans Bears, and he couldn't figure out a kick, but he did okay. I held him off. It was a battle. I had to win something the way the Titans were playing. But anyway, yeah, so Saturday, Sunday, clearly, get down there a few hours early and do the tailgating thing. I assume that Jamal's meet up with some of his Two-Tone. I think they have a podcast too. I listened to it last week just to get a kind of a feel. Because I have to say, I think you're probably in the same boat. I don't know what to expect from the Titans because they clearly let the preseason just kind of go. So you just don't know what kind of chemistry Mariota has with Decker, with Davis. I think Rashard Matthews has to be like a week 1 guy that he looks to. And of course, Sharona's favorite, drafted in the 7th round of our local league, Delaney Walker, baby.
Delaney. I had Delaney queued up in this league, but somebody sniped me. Sniped me.
He's kind of forgotten. It's like the Titans drafted, they drafted 2 receivers, and they picked the guy up in free agency. And there's this kind of assumption, I guess, that Delaney is going to drop off. I mean, he is in his 30s. Tight ends tend to kind of wear down, but I still think he's going to be possibly the number 1 targeted guy. I mean, especially in week 1. But the question, you don't know how good the offensive line is going to be. DeMarco Murray is banged up a little bit. Really not sure what the defense is going to be like. I was just I don't usually listen to Peter King because he's just don't get him talking about anything besides football and you'll probably be okay. But he interviewed Dick LeBeau because Dick LeBeau is the Titans defensive coordinator. And Sharona, my dad's birthday was last week. My dad is 68 years old. He is 12 years younger than the Titans defensive coordinator.
No way.
And Dick LeBeau talked about how when he got in the NFL, he played for the Detroit Lions, and they only had 5 defensive backs in their entire roster. So he was a cornerback, but he was also the backup for any other position. So if somebody else in the defensive got hurt, he had to play because they had like 31 guys on a roster. Now it's 53. So it was just like crazy to talk to a guy who played in like the 50s, 60s, and 70s and has been a coach in the NFL for like 45 years. still, I don't know about this defense. We'll see. They're better in the defensive backfield, but it sounds like Logan Ryan isn't really a number one corner. Like he's going to play slot on third down, so I don't know. You got Sims, you got Dory Jackson, who got kind of toasted in preseason. Don't know what to expect. They don't have a lot of depth, with their outside linebackers. Terrell Casey's a monster, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll see a game like last year because the Titans and the Raiders, neither team had much of a defense, and they end up playing a low-scoring game. It's possible. Opening game of the year. Maybe they do some kind of crazy, plays that actually work. But I don't know. But I like the idea of going to the opening game. Get to hang with the parents. Get to hang with the Sharona.
That's right.
It's too bad I can't get Dawn because I think Dawn will have a good time. You hear us, Dawn?
It's so weird.
So have you picked players? What's going on?
Yeah, I drafted my second quarterback, which it's all right. There's so many players that I'm not sure of this year. I mean, you got to draft somebody, right? And some of these other quarterbacks that I might have taken to put on my bench are the same bye week. It's my other quarterback, and I can't do that. So, anyway, I'm pretty good. I've still got 3 more picks to make. There's still guys out there.
Unless you're like in a best ball, I don't know how much you'd worry about that because I know you do a lot of roster movement during the season, but I was happy to do our Yahoo League and just draft Roethlisberger and not take another quarterback because I really wasn't worried.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of taking 2 quarterbacks either. I'm really not. But I've been doing it a lot this year because of so much uncertainty, and you just never know. And it's just a weird year. I'm drafting a little differently this year than I ordinarily do because of the available talent and so many unknowns.
You take Tom Brady the year after he was like the MVP and had like 50 touchdowns, and then he tears his ACL in the first week, and you're like, oh, I don't have a quarterback. Look at me. Or the year that I traded for Peyton Manning, and then I took like 2 backups to back him up, and then he had that neck thing, and I was like scrambling for a quarterback all year. And I made one of the dumber trades in my history of dumb trades. I traded like Calvin Johnson to get RG3. Now, RG3 was good his rookie year, but Calvin Johnson, I mean, come on.
And there was somebody I was looking at, and
that poor cat, what are you giving him? He's all knocked out. I was like, dude, this football thing is so boring.
Okay, hold on.
Sharona's got it. How many rounds do you have in this draft? Probably too many.
Somebody must have already taken him. Or I didn't take him, did I? No. Somebody else got him before I did. I don't know who it was. Oh, it's because I can't see. Okay, there it is. All right.
She can't see.
So, yeah. Well, I didn't have it scrolled up. So, I've got 3 more draft picks.
Yeah. Now, have you watched all of Game of Thrones, and are you having withdrawal right now?
I have watched all of the Game of Thrones. I am caught up, and this season I watched every single episode multiple times. So, yeah, they didn't have to do Viserion that way, man. So, yeah, I'm curious to see. We're going to have to wait a long time. I have to say this. This is kind of tangentially on topic, maybe, or not. I don't know. You may not remember, but I know we've had this conversation. I was very late to the Harry Potter thing. I knew I wanted to read all the books and see the movies, but like until maybe 2 years ago, I hadn't done that. And so I finally read all the books. Now I've read all the books like multiple times. It's sort of my, when I want to unwind and take my mind off things and wind down and whatever, I'll read on my little Kindle, which is another new thing. It's sort of semi-new thing within the last couple of years. Because I always wanted to have a book. But I hadn't seen any of the movies. And so this past weekend, I had just some free time, not a whole lot of free time. I didn't want to start anything, so I was multitasking. At the television on, and they were running Harry. It was Harry Potter weekend. They were running some of the movies, and I got a chance to see just a little bit. And I don't like how they did Dumbledore. I'm not a fan. I
What did
don't.
they do?
He's not. They completely changed him, and he's like, "Oh, Harry, I couldn't fart without you telling me what to do, and thank God I have you, Harry." And it's not like that in the books. It's like so totally opposite. It was weird watching it, and I didn't. Again, I haven't watched any of them all the way through. I probably saw all together, not at the same time, maybe about 45 minutes of it. And I had to turn it. I was like, but I'm gonna sit down and watch them. I'm gonna hate watch them. Maybe I'll tweet through it. But I was like, I don't like these movies.
Yeah, I read all the books and the movies. Maybe because they were so close to the books, we're kind of missing something in a way. Maybe it's better to imagine it as opposed to what they
But
threw out there.
did you notice what I'm talking about? Dumbledore wasn't. It was like he was following Harry, not leading him, which I think is crucial to the books.
Because I didn't think about that deeply. Oh no! Unlike Game of Thrones, which I've watched.
Anyway, we can go back to Game of Thrones. That just came to mind.
Well, I mean, the tradition we made this year is we'd watch the previous episode and then the current episode, which started. We had like friends over, I think, of episode 4, and they hadn't seen a couple episodes, so we got to watch, a couple. And you really do catch things the second time. And this season was definitely different because they were definitely going for the spectacle as opposed to, I mean, they'd like, all right, let's have all this character work we've done over this time pay off. And they made it pay off, although I don't know why they let everybody live. They barely killed anybody. In a way, some of the, and you can nitpick. It's so easy to nitpick anything these days.
It is.
Ultimately, I enjoyed it. We're going to see the end. I was kind of, in a way, relaxed, so that it was weird this weekend to go, hey, you want to watch the finale again? And it's like, well, we have like a year and a half, so we don't really have to rush it. We don't need to see again all the glory. But the Sharona line, I couldn't fart without you telling me what to do. See, that's could be the greatest line in show history.
It was disconcerting to watch it. It was and I remember which part it was. It was, to me, one of the best parts in the books is when they go and find I'm gonna totally butcher this word, Horcrux.
Mm-hmm.
When they find the first one, and well, actually no, the second one, I guess. It's the lake scene. It was very disconcerting to me. I'm still not over it, as you can tell, because I'm talking about it.
Very disconcerted, I see.
Yes.
So what video games are you going to expose me to this weekend and crush me at? Because you'll have the controllers with the 30 buttons.
Well, of course, ESO. We're going to have that. And I think what I'm going to do is bring, I just have to bring ESO because that one, I'll probably bring the other two in the series that you can see on Xbox One, which would be Oblivion and Skyrim and Mass Effect, the Mass Effect series. I'm going to bring all the series to you.
So we have to Facebook Live my
Maybe
dad
even
playing Elder Scrolls.
I'm going to bring them all, damn it.
Yeah,
Every
so
one of
we
them.
need to bring the Nintendo Classic. I think we're set. Although we could play the Wii Bowling. That's a game that I think one of my favorite memories of Wii Bowling at my parents' house was Don playing, and he just would swing so hard with the left hand that he actually hit the ceiling fan with his hand. And yeah, And Don's staying up all night so he could get the sparkly ball in Wii Bowling because you had to get like a certain amount of points. Yeah, that's a 1. So yeah, we'll get us some Nashville hot chicken and possibly some beverages. And Sharona's gonna be like locking her beers away so they're safe for Sunday.
Yes, absolutely.
As soon as I'm gonna be like, all right, what do you have? Okay, I'm not touching that until Sunday.
Okay.
Because I don't want to get in trouble. I've already been in trouble. You drafting? What's happening? What's going on?
I am. I'm up. I'm keeping an eye on things.
Which round?
We are in the end of round 14. We got 15. I've got 3 more picks to go.
3 more picks. Team defense here, please. No.
I've already got a defense. I drafted the Seahawks.
Oh. Yeah, did you like the Sheldon Richardson trade that the Seahawks made? Because
I thought it made sense for both teams. I did. Even though, okay, hang on. Let me get mine. I took Chakondrick. I'll mispronounce his name.
Chakondrick West.
West.
How deep is this league? My goodness.
It's pretty deep.
How many is it? 12 team or?
It must. It's either 10 or 12. I'm not sure.
How many ITPers are there?
It is. Anyway, I've got my next player queued up, and I'm on deck. So let me get this, and then I'll have only 1 pick left, and it'll be at the very end. So.
Woohoo! Yeah, because another thing that's happening Saturday night, Missouri, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
South Carolina beat North Carolina State this week, and Missouri played their preseason game against Missouri State. I don't know what to think. Last year, before the season started, the Missouri blog predicted that Drew Lock would have 11 touchdowns for the whole year. He had 7 last week. Of course, it was kind of a practice. I don't know. It's very weird. A team that Missouri had some great offenses like the Chase Daniel days, and then it kind of fell apart in the last few years. And now they seem to have pretty good offense and a pretty terrible defense, and they're playing an SEC team. So, yeah, we'll see. We might have to be tipping some back and playing Elder Scrolls or whatever. Like, yeah, football or whatever Elder Scroll is. Sounds good. What do I do?
Well, it's not necessarily.
Hit you at the Horcrux.
It's not necessarily that I want to just play every one of them, but I want to show them to you so that you can appreciate them.
I need to appreciate your world.
You definitely need to
get the fuller picture of the whole Sharona situation.
Yep.
Ready or not, you're going to figure some stuff out this weekend.
It's going to be fun.
That Titans game, well, there are some amazing duds this week in the NFL. Like the Rams, Colts, Goff versus Tolzien. We have the Bills versus the Jets, and it almost was Nathan Peterman against Josh McCown. And the Texans, Jaguars game is going to be kind of JV because Blake Bortles against Tom Savage. Tom Savage, who has as many NFL touchdowns in the regular season as I do. 0. Just saying. I can't believe it.
I still
Tom
think
Savage.
Blake's gonna. I know I'm crazy, but I still think that Blake's going to be okay, and we'll probably have fairly good fantasy season anyway. I don't know what the Jaguars are going to do as a team. They've got talent. I mean, they've got a new coaching staff. I don't know.
Well, it was just 2 years ago. My dad was playing Don in our championship game, and Don was winning by 50. And my dad had Blake Bortles and Tim Hightower in the Jaguars Saints game, and they scored 70 points combined, and he just came out of nowhere to win. So yeah, that's one thing to think in your fantasy league. Well, maybe you don't like your team. Well, you're going to make a lot of changes to your team this year, so you're going to be just fine. Unless you're in best ball, which I kind of prefer, but we'll see. I already looked at my dynasty team, and it's not good. And I lost Edelman, and I lost Ware. I have a young Christian McCaffrey. I'm hoping for big things for him, but we'll see. Because I got Cam Newton. And I got DeMarco Murray still. And Sharona's favorite, Derrick Henry. Is Derrick Henry going to pay off this year?
Did you not see my latest ITP article?
No.
I said Derrick Henry over DeMarco Murray.
Over where?
In fantasy.
So you're taking him... What is he usually going, like 6th, 7th round? He's kind of slipping, actually.
Who? Which one?
Because there was a big debate on Twitter about, like, because Derrick Henry was going, like, in the 6th or 7th round. I got him in, I think, the 8th round of one of those Scott Fish Bowl. I don't think I got him at Scott Fish Bowl, but a similar league. It's kind of like if he becomes the guy, he's going to put up crazy numbers, and DeMarco Murray's getting up there. Sadly, as someone who's, 43, say, oh, he's getting up there. He's like 29. That's old for a running back. And Derrick Henry's the young hotness. We got to go to the Heisman, handoff thing. I'm just scared that Mariota's going to get hurt and it's going to be the Matt Cassell show again this year. And that's the end of all hope.
Hopefully not, but, you never know.
You never know. Well, he beat out the perpetual QB3, Tanny.
Yeah, he did not have a very good preseason.
And that it was between those two. I mean, Tanny's is he the poor man's Rusty Smith, or is he the next level, the evolutional version?
I would love to have seen what Rusty Smith's career would have been if Mike Heimerdinger doesn't get cancer and die.
Probably the same.
Maybe, but I would like to have seen
the longest tenured third-string quarterback in the NFL history, I feel like. Probably Whitehurst had a few years, but yeah, Rusty Smith, I feel like was the third stringer for like 5 years.
It's so funny you bring up his name because as I was doing my waiver stuff this morning in Scotty Fishbowl, I saw Charlie Whitehurst's name out there, and he's a free agent, and I was like, oh, he's not on the roster. Okay.
He played for the Browns. I don't know if he started a game, but they had him. I mean, they had like 8 quarterbacks in their roster last year, so yeah, I think they said Deshaun Kaiser is going to be like the 3rd youngest quarterback to start a game in NFL history. So they got that going for him. I was a little sad because I had Cody Kessler in my dynasty league. I just needed a desperation backup for Cam, but it didn't work out. But I don't know. That's why I picked the Steelers defense for week 1.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I treated it like week 1 because I'm not a big fan of team defense. It's such a coin flip, lazy way to play. But
somebody sniped me.
Who snipes the snipe?
I don't know.
Snipe?
Let me find another. Okay.
Okay, we'll be quiet. Shh.
No, we're almost done. My last pick
is great radio.
I know. Keep going.
Keep going. Oh. A guy who actually picked up in a best ball was Taywan Taylor. Because I have a sneaky feeling that in the first month or two, at least, he's going to put up better numbers than Davis just because he's played the whole offseason.
I noticed.
And they've been throwing him in the backfield, doing weird stuff with him.
Apparently, the release of Trey McBride caused some Titan fans misery.
Yeah, I mean, Trey McBride was a very rare guy the Titans took that actually draft Twitter liked, because everybody was talking about him as like a 4th round pick.
Sharp,
and he was a 7th round pick, and he just barely made the roster. But you know who signed Trey McBride? The Bears. So he might get to continue his career with Doel Loganes, the hardest to pronounce name guy who was like the Titans offensive coordinator at like age 33 or something. He's still hanging on. You never know. One good year, he might be one of those, how did that guy get to be a head coach, candidates? But I think it's all blowing up. I don't know.
All right.
Did you do it?
With my very last pick, I'm picking Curtis Samuel
Peyton Manning.
to the
Oh,
surprise.
that's right. Your Panthers crush cannot be quelled.
Yep. All right. Done.
So which league out of all your leagues do you want to win the most?
Probably are going for 2 redraft.
The League of Funk?
I want that damn trophy.
There's a trophy now, and I don't know. I don't know if it should travel. It needs to stay in Atlanta. And there's one way it's going to happen is if I
I
win.
want the trophy.
I should get you a
I don't get
regular season Marty Schottenheimer trophy,
yeah, really.
losing the playoffs trophy. Andy Reid trophy?
I don't really get too caught up in my best ball leagues. I just don't. I'd like to win one of my ITP leagues. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's I never from year to year I never know what I'm mad about my NFL female league because excuse me,
She's mad.
legitimately the draft interface was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Huh.
It's got me so turned off their product right now. I don't know that I'll ever. I mean, like next year, I'm probably going to push really hard for us to use something else because it was so bad. I mean, and it wasn't just me; it was for a lot of other people too. And so, yeah.
I know the Yahoo one was tough. It took a while for me to because I got the 8th pick. I initially thought I was going to get 3, and I switched. And Odell Beckham being there just kind of shocked me. But then it took me 45 seconds to go, how do I actually pick a player?
Yeah. Well, see, that's what happened to me. I had the 10th pick, and Odell Beckham Jr. was there, and so I
Crazy people. What is up with these crazy people?
I picked him, but then he didn't. He didn't even show. He never showed up on my roster. And then my next, and it was another snake draft. Excuse me. Hold on. So
It's
I picked.
vodka.
So I picked Mike Evans next, and he didn't show up, and I'm like, it was like totally throwing me off.
She's thrown off. I'm going to be throwing off this Elder Scrolls thing.
Yep. Get ready.
It's going to be fun. Hang with the laws. I didn't actually chat with my parents this week. I got to figure out what size of a steak my mom's getting me for Saturday because it's got to be 6 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they do it in Law Land. Because I haven't made any more. This is it. This is so far for the fall. It's I've only said, okay, I'm going to the opener. I have no idea what I'm going to do next to that. But that's okay. What are you doing, Sharona? What's happening with you this season? Are you ready? Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me
on glorious work.
You can find me on Twitter, Sports by Sharona, and keep up with all my comings and goings there.
There you go. Zach_Law. Thanks, everybody. And Don was upset that I did not say the following line at the end of last week's show. Kiss my grits.